Hi honeys, welcome to Books and Hauls with Michelle. In this video I'm going to tell you all of the books that I plan on reading in March, and I've got quite the list here. I'm excited. Remodeled to Death by Valerie Wolzien. I just ordered this book. It's not here yet. Obviously I don't plan on reading it just yet, probably closer to the end of the month, but it's a cozy mystery that is from the 90s. I read her past book, can't remember the name. The book right before it, I mean, not her past book. They're all past books. The one right before it I read, and I really loved it in December. I'll put it up here somewhere so you can see which book I'm talking about. But I really wanted to make an effort to finish that series because I really did enjoy it. And it's kind of nice to go back to the 90s, if you know what I mean. There's so much not going on in the 90s that happens now. Anyway, the main character, Susan, and her husband, can't remember his name, end up deciding to go stay in a cabin for the summer, I think it is, if I remember correctly. And I'm going to slaughter this whole synopsis. I don't know if they're buying or renting the cabin, but something happens with the plumbing. And there's somebody who's like the county inspector, who everybody hates, is giving them a lot of problems, and he ends up dead. So of course, not only is Susan a suspect, but of course she's going to do her sleuthing and try to solve the crime. Sounds fun. I'm looking forward to it. So that's my cozy mystery for March. My classic book for March is going to be Peter Pan. Do I have to tell you what this one's about? I feel like I don't have to tell you. I feel like you probably already know. But if you don't know what it's about a young boy named Peter who never grows up. It's about fantasy and adventure and imagination. I think, now I haven't read this book ever, but I think it's probably good for children to read, to explore their imagination, and it's probably just as good for adults to read, to revisit that childlike wonder and imagination that they maybe have lost. That's what I'm thinking. So we'll see if that happens. This is a month for thinking about my childhood and what was important to me and kind of returning to it a little bit. I don't know if you've heard, I've got next weekend on Sunday, my video is going to be about books that I loved as a child. And I'm super stoked about telling you guys this and explaining why and some of the books that were life-changing and why and so on and so forth. So what better month would there be to read Peter Pan than this month? I asked everyone to go ahead and vote on my March TBR. I asked for 2 votes per person. Most of you did 1. Shame on you. But I added everything up. The clear winner was Saving Fish from Drowning. And this is supposed to be a wonderful book about returning to the place where hope is found. Yes, that's what I'm looking for as well. We all need a little hope in our lives right now, right? So what a great month to read this. Now, I had asked for 2 votes each, and I had a couple books, 2 books that were tied for second place. So I asked everybody to do a revote. I'm going to go ahead and let you know which book won. And then the one that didn't win, well, I just plan on reading it next month. It's not that big of a deal. I still look forward to reading it, and it's still exciting to me. I'm just waiting till next month. Big Little Lies by, who wrote it? Liane Moriarty. If you didn't notice from the title, this book is about lies. Lies in a small town. I think it's a small town in California. There's a group of friends who all have kids that are in the same class at school. A bunch of lies occur. And of course, a bunch of consequences to those lies occur. And that's really all I'm going to say until I read it, because it's been long enough since I watched this series on TV that I don't really remember what else it's about. I know there's a lot of like just scandal. And I'm looking forward to it. I do need to mention that after last month, February, I didn't mean for it to be, but it was the book of the heavy, dark depressing books for me. If you look back on the video of the books I read, they're all known for being very dark and dismal and depressing, and I just needed to brighten back up. I needed more rainbows and sunshine and glitter in my life. And so luckily none of these books this month are supposed to be dark or depressing. And I'm all about that life right now. Madeleine L'Engle, A Ring of Endless Light. This is one of the books that I want to talk about in my video about the books I loved as a child. Yes, this is one of them. And I want to revisit it. I wanted to read all of them again, but this one is long, so I've decided to just add it as an actual book I count as having read this year. This is the 4th book in the Austen Family Chronicles. This is the same author that wrote A Wrinkle in Time, if you're not familiar with her. And this book was life-changing to me as a 12-year-old. And I don't remember why, but it was. Does that make sense? Like, to the point where there's certain feelings from the book I still have to this day that will creep up in my memory, and I'll think, oh yeah, but why it was so important, I don't know. What was it that I learned that has made it stand out to me all these years later? So I'm going to reread it and hopefully find out what it is that was so epic to me. And I hope to be done with it by next weekend when I do my childhood video. Girl A by Abigail Dean. Okay, this is a suspense novel, but it's not really. It's a fiction book about a girl named Lex, or a lady named Lex, who comes from an abusive family, but it's such an abusive family that they're kind of world famous. During this book, I have read it just to let you know. I'm not going to give a review on it yet, but just to let you know what it's about. During this book, she's going through current times now. Her mother just died in prison and left her and her siblings the family home and some money, and she has to get in touch with everyone and go back to the house. So it's about sibling relationships, how our siblings know parts of us that no one else knows. It's about her in the current time, and then as she encounters different people, she'll remember different things about them in the past. And so it kind of jumps between now, the recent past, and the long ago past constantly. If you don't like books that bounce around a lot like that, this is not the book for you. If you want to read it, you will be constantly trying to figure out what really happened and what she's remembering maybe differently. It is a good book. But you know, I said there's no depressing books in this stack. This one is. It was the first book I read this month. So I don't know. To me, it's like I've moved on. But it is super depressing because it's about child abuse, severe child abuse, and what it can do to people. So if you don't want to read a really dark book, don't get it. If you're okay with that, get it. It's a good book. Okay, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to give my full review because you got to tune in later in the month to know what I really thought of the book, right? Sweet Valley Confidential by Francine Pascal. This is an exciting book for me because I loved Sweet Valley Twins, Sweet Valley High, Sweet Valley University. Can I go on? No, because that's where it stopped. But then I got this book, and apparently this is 10 years after high school graduation, and Jessica and Elizabeth are no longer speaking, and they live on opposite sides of the country. And that's what this book is about. Why they aren't speaking anymore. Can they reignite that closeness that they had for so long? I have read this book already. I just have to tell you these things. But I'm not going to tell you what I thought of it because you have to tune in at the end of the month for the review video. Or if you want to know what I think of books ahead of time, you can always tune in on Mondays. I'm doing book vlogs now where I tell you as I'm reading books what I'm thinking of them. And then in the reviews, I'm just giving my final take on books. So that's definitely something fun if you like seeing people's reactions to books as they're reading them. That's what the vlog is. And that'll be on tomorrow and every Monday for a while. The nonfiction book that I decided to read this month is Talking as Fast as I Can by Lauren Graham. She is the actress that was in the Gilmore Girls, but you know, I think of her as the lady on, the sister on Parenthood, and I think of her as one of my favorite characters ever in a movie, her character in Bad Santa. So that's who I think of her as. I have watched Gilmore Girls, but I didn't watch every season. I think I saw the last season, and I liked it. The last original season, not the new last season. But I definitely want to give this a read. It just seems like a nice, lighthearted book. Hopefully, she doesn't have too depressing of a life, because I need a pick-me-up after all the depressing books I read. So hopefully this will do the trick. And the last book, I'm hoping I can fit this in, it's quite a few books I have here, is Heather, the Totality by Matthew Weiner. This is a book that I found at the Dollar Tree, and it was written by the same person who wrote Mad Men. And it's about parents and their daughter, Heather. It's supposed to be a very thrilling suspense book. And that's kind of all I know about it. A miraculous and fearless novel. Heather is unprecedented, as well as being smart, sharp, and readable. It proves there are still fresh and exciting ways to write fiction. And this book is only, I think it's 100 pages or something. It's really short. 133 pages. So I could read that in a day if I wanted to. Hopefully I will get all of these books finished in the month of March. As per usual, I will put links down in the description box if you want to check out any of these books. They will all be through Amazon Prime, and I do have affiliate links there if you decide to use them. I just want to let you know, full disclosure, that I do get a very small percentage of commission for that, or for giving you their link. I hope that you can tune in next week. I'm really looking forward to this childhood favorite video. And not only am I excited because I've been reading a bunch of my childhood favorite books this week, which is reigniting this excitement about life that I haven't had in a while, especially since, you know, last year when everything went the way it went. But I'm also really excited because I cannot wait in that video. I want you guys to tell me what your favorite books as a child were. So take this time, we've got a whole week, make me a list, and please put it in the comment section of that video because I really want to know what you all loved as children. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your week or day. I love you. Bye.